5, 16, 19, 21, 30, 3 and 10. Check results. You remember?
Celebrate good times. Come on. Do. It's 1-9. And Arsenal officially have not won the league. It's a celebration. Put the doctor away, and I don't care. Oh, it's sad. What a sad little life you have with your team who's finishing bottom half of the Premier League. I couldn't give a fuck because I've had my high moments in recent years. We won the Champions League literally like 2 years ago, mate. And I can live off these things for a little period of time. Look, not forever. Look, I don't want this to be forever. But look, we've had a bad season. They happen. What mattered to me most was Arsenal didn't win the league. And guess what? They haven't. If they won the league, that would have been terrible for me. Arsenal or Tottenham win the league. I can't think of anything worse than that in life. In football life. And Arsenal don't win. And I've been hiding this. Oh boy, have I been hiding this. I've been hiding this joy, this celebration, just wanting to scream from the rooftops they haven't won the league for so long. And everybody else has said Arsenal have lost it ages ago. They already said, City have done it. They've already won it. There's no point. Arsenal are going to get back in this. But I refrained from celebration. I remained scared. At the idea Arsenal could get back into this, and I would like jinx it somehow or celebrate too early. And the second it's officially now not done, oh boy, I'm here to boogie Alan Pardew style. It's amazing. Arsenal was so confident they were going to win it on Twitter, the players themselves. There's all of the tweets they'd put out and all this bullshit and this whole aura bullshit that Arteta's got this aura. All of a sudden they start putting together clips of Arteta and this team like having some aura on. They're just not that. They're not that. And I'll tell you one thing. I'll give you credit. There is no shame in losing the league to Manchester City. There is no shame in that because they're an absolute joke. That being said, there is shame in how you lost it, how clear you were. It was in your hands. You win the games that you should be winning. You win the league. And as good as City are, all right, as good as they are, they had times to get back into the league this season where in prior seasons they would have snapped at previous opportunities and would have got back into even earlier. And they didn't take those certain opportunities. And then you kind of just handed it to them and you capitulated like under your own volition for no reason. You just sort of gave it to them. There's no shame in it. They're one of the best teams in the last 10 years or whatever. But it is still a bottle job. It is a bottle. Like you had a comfortable lead and you dropped points in a row. Sure enough, fine, Liverpool. But then to do this exact same thing at West Ham, and then to go down how you did in Southampton, you just completely lost your heads. And straight after that, like the West Ham and Southampton game, you went from this crazy confidence that all the players had in interviews to immediately Gabriel Jesus, by the way, someone who's won Premier Leagues with Man City, so he should have a better mentality, coming out in an interview saying stuff like, well, we are like a young team, obviously, so we haven't got like real champions or winners in this team and stuff. And it's like, how are you coming out and saying that, like, after 3 bad, like, just completely just like, sort of rationalizing the City, or being like, making excuses and stuff, and especially from like you who is meant to be a winner. It was just like completely. When I saw interviews like that, all of a sudden I started to think, okay, from that kind of point. And then like today, Nottingham Forest, other games like the Chelsea game, like is the only because we lose to everyone, but like everyone else is just kind of like the City game. They just showed you who the real best team in the league is realistically, and like, they had your number realistically, and you could finish like the league now, the season now, on like 80 something, but like nothing incredible. Like you would tip to be in the 90 region. Now you could just finish with like 85, 86. Like, I don't know. It's just like, yeah, because you lost that game. I think the maximum points they can finish on now, I think City are on 85, and I think Arsenal on 81, right? And the Arsenal have 1 game remaining. Arsenal maybe have 1 or 2 games remaining, and if they have 2. Then max they can finish would be 87 points. So, and they might not even get that. So it's just kind of like, it's crazy. You know what it does mean? The one caveat, bad thing, whatever, is Arsenal will have to give City a guard of honour. Which, if you offered me that deal, I'd happily accept it. Like, if you offered me the risk of like going into the like any chance that Arsenal could somehow turn it around, any chance, like if you offered me like them not to do it this game, everyone else would say they'll take their chances because City are going to win the league anyway. Let's do it in a later game. I would have accepted it there and then and said, yes, Arsenal can lose today and City can win the league today. And we'll give them the guard of honour. Because, look, it's not ideal. No one wants to give a team a guard of honour. It's embarrassing, sort of. It's like, no one wants to do that. But at the end of the day, it's City. And I just feel like I've said this before, but I just don't really care about City. Like, it's great when you beat them, and they're getting up there. Like, Liverpool are starting to hate City a lot more now and stuff, and Arsenal are now probably going to start to have a bit more of a hatred for City. So they're getting like more rivalries in there in recent times. But for me, City is just a team. Like, if Chelsea aren't winning and one of the other top six has to be winning, obviously I'd want it to be City. And I know people don't want domination and stuff, but like, I don't want to see United win stuff. I don't want to see Arsenal win stuff. I don't want to see Tottenham win stuff. I don't want to see Liverpool win stuff. I would actually see a lot of people against Liverpool because they find their fans really annoying on Twitter. But I actually said I don't want to see Liverpool win stuff either. Actually, no, like the go-to kind of is just City. Now the only reason you don't want City to win is because you don't want them to have crazy dominance. You don't want it to be boring. You don't want them to just become out and out the best and just make it a non-contest. And this also means there's a good chance they could win a treble, which I guess is another maybe fair point where you would. One other bad thing where you would want City to win the league is that now they could win the treble. But look, there's still two opportunities where they can't win that. You know, they've got a game against United. It's a leveler. It's a derby. People say that. They could lose that. Got a Champions League game against Inter Milan, which maybe they might underestimate. I don't know. These are unlikely things. My shirt is so unironed, but I don't care. I'm happy. The idea of Jorginho going there and winning a Premier League title, don't like that idea. I mean, it's just such... I can stop... Hair can stop being lost because I can finally just relax at the idea that it's just not happening now. And it feels great. It feels really good. You know, I don't want to... I love this. I love this more than you believe. And now it begs the question, look, and the way Arsenal fans are taking it, obviously, on Twitter, first of all, they hate the argument of who has had the better season, United or Arsenal. They hate that argument. And they don't want to hear it. What I will say is... who had the better season and what season would you prefer are two different questions. What season would I prefer? Arsenal season or United season? I would prefer United season. Literally the only thing about United season that made me stutter was the losing 7-0 at home or were they away, I don't even care. To like your biggest rival, like losing 7-0 to Tottenham at home, that would really suck. Like, that is one thing, but just the main part of finishing second and winning no trophies, or finishing third or fourth but winning one with an option of winning a second trophy. Even if the trophies of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, I would obviously take that over just finishing second. Now, who's had the better season? Obviously, Arsenal had the better season. They've been for 80% of this season, they've been the best team and looked unbeatable and had last minute moments who just go, wow, they're winning the league and stuff like that. But it's all for naught, and no one will remember that realistically in years to come, really. And you could argue no one will remember the who won the Carabao Cup in 2023 or whatever, or even the FA Cup with how some people view it now. But these are extra numbers you can add into your trophy collection to say, in the last 10 years, we've won this many trophies. And people do remember that. People do remember, we've won 10 trophies in the last 10 years, or whatever. That's not the actual stat, but you know what I mean. That will be remembered. Silverware is remembered. Maybe not specifically Carabao Cup this year, but, you know, it's an accumulation thing, and you want to add up as many as you can. Another thing Arsenal fans can't take is people when they say that they bottled the league, they don't want to hear that. But they did bottle the league. And that's going to trigger people, but they did bottle the league. And look, there's no that doesn't mean you are now inherently bottle jobs. Like, just because we're saying you bottled the league doesn't mean you're like Tottenham. You can bottle a single game. It doesn't make you a bottling team. Everyone bottles stuff, right? And it got to late in the season and something changed. If Arsenal lost a game here, then the game 6 weeks later, then drew there, and then slowly they got caught up and City grabbed them and won, that'd be one thing. But it was a capitulation in a very short period of time, losing to teams, and all of a sudden teams in the bottom half of the table became a big struggle for you. Going down early in games all of a sudden, conceding way too many goals, realistically, I think. It just became a point where it was like, this is this is a bowl. This is a bowl. For the gap you had to lose it within the space of like 4 games, it's just like, or 3 games even, you know, I couldn't be happier though. I couldn't be happier. You know what I mean, you got to think about it from my perspective, right? As a Chelsea fan, to have a season where your team, which is a top 6 team, finishes in the bottom half of the table, and on top of that, for one of your main rivals to then also win the league, you know, to see probably City win the Champions, it would just be a lot of things. That would just suck. I mean, West Ham would win the Conference League. Not that I really give a fuck for just them getting a European trophy. I mean, to be fair, with West Ham, like most people I know are West Ham fans. So, but I don't know what it is about West Ham. Like, I don't find West Ham fans too annoying. I don't know. I have nothing against West Ham really, but I'm just saying it's another London rival type thing. The only thing I have against West Ham is that they fucking beat us all the time, or seem to be a bit of a bogey team. But yeah, man. Like, there's other stuff that's happened around the place, around the world, and stuff to talk about. But all I'm really thinking about is football at the moment. I mean, Chelsea are playing tomorrow, but we'll have to give that guard of honour. But look, maybe we can get something out of City. They've got nothing to play for anymore. Maybe they'll just absolutely run through us and fully celebrate. Maybe I remember there was that time where Liverpool had a bad game against City because they'd already won the league, and then they kind of, everyone was saying, oh, they're departing, let themselves go, and wasn't ready for the City game or whatever. People were saying that. But I just think, who knows? Maybe they're not other races. Maybe they've got nothing to play for. Maybe that means they destroy us, and maybe that means we get a draw, we win, and we do all right. I don't know. Obviously, it'd be nice to beat City. I don't know. It just feel like something we beat the champions, which I know is so lame. Like, such a small mentality. Like, well, that's a trophy for us. We beat the winners. That's like if we can, But that's where we're at right now, and it would just be nice to win it or to draw it even. But yeah, I look forward to that tomorrow. I don't know who will start. I'm just looking forward to football again. I don't know why. That's kind of reignited me, revitalised some stuff. Especially when Nkunku scoring like a goal a game. He'll be coming next year. I know, and I've been really like, no, he's not a striker. Like, we still need a striker. And I am like that. But now Tony's got the ban and stuff. And like, I've been that way because it's like, he's not an out-and-out striker. And he's doing it in the Bundesliga. And we felt Bundesliga pain a lot recently with players. But Nkunku feels inevitable. I mean, Timo Werner felt inevitable. Like, so inevitable. And he, to be fair, looking back on things, he actually did impact games a lot, even when he wasn't scoring. When he was scoring but offside goals. So I got blocked those. It's really being affected now. But I don't know. As Nkunku already stepping, I always forget we have him as well. But stepping into this side, it feels good. And then it's also the place we've had for a while, or had like from January of this season, who are still yet to explode. You just think, if this guy explodes, still there's a chance. Like, I think someone like Havertz could easily be sold, and isn't someone who I think could still be putting your money on to finally explode. It's probably been a bit too long now. But like Mudryk is definitely one. I mean, Enzo not exactly to explode, but just he's been playing some Fabregas style passes, and they've all been for naught realistically recently because where we are. But if all of a sudden we can start clicking, then these movements and passes and bits of play will all of a sudden start to be highlighted, and he'll look class on grass, mate. You got some extra depth now, because I'll tell you for free, Reece James is probably going to pick up some more ill-timed injuries next season, like he has a lot recently. But now we've got Gusto, who can do a job there. Probably need an option for left back, because Ben Chilwell's similar thing. But I guess Lewis Hall could maybe grow into that or something. I guess the only thing I don't know. we're getting rid of a lot of Cobham players, and I don't want to keep them just because Cobham players are genuinely good or useful. And I think people don't understand that for like squad players. And like, if you have there's a player, right, a perfect style of player who's of a certain level of quality, versatility, and mindset, where it's like they're not kicking up a fuss because they're not playing all the time. They're just willing to get their head down and play when they can. When they do play, they do a good enough job, which is at least a 6 or 7 out of 10, and they're versatile, right? And you got to have Chalobah, who does a job at right back, centre back, could do a job at CDM. He's done it before. Players like Conor Gallagher, who can play in the midfield, high energy, young. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, whenever he plays, wherever he plays, he'll play to at least a 6 or 7. And like wanting to get rid of them because they're not first team players is like, yeah, but they're squad players. And so if you get players better than them, they're gonna want to start and know the argument. Well, it's good. You should want your second team to be as good as your first team because then they're always pushing each other. But then you get the whole thing where like if you've got a player who's as good as Enzo, but he's sitting on the bench every week because he can't get into the team, it's like, sure, that's pushing Enzo, but if he never gets into the team, he's just going to complain and want to leave anyway, and then have a player who doesn't want to be here. You know, everyone wants first team football. So it's like, the Ruben thing, I get it, but it's just kind of one of those things. It's like, I actually think he's genuinely very underrated. In the last year or so, like, since the era where he played against Southampton and played pretty well, and played against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu at wing back and played pretty well, I actually think he's been pretty like nothing insane, but he's been like a good 6.5 out of 10 every game, 7, and he's a squad player. You know what I mean? And he puts in occasional nines, but I'm saying he's been a solid player. But like with Gallagher, Loftus-Cheek, Mount, and Chalobah, it's like obviously I want to keep Mount. I actually feel like he's a future captain. But a part of me kind of wants him to go somewhere else and just do sick and be another example of a player who proves us wrong and hopefully is a part of a string of players who will stop us doing it in the future. When we can actually look at a point and say, getting rid of Tomori and Tammy and Mount, maybe weren't the smartest things. Maybe they weren't the smartest things. Tammy's not having his best season right now. I'm not ignoring that. But someone who got 15 goals in his first season as a young player in the Premier League, getting rid of them with an £80 million buyback clause, which we're not going to use because that's a lot of money, and not trying to grow that is kind of insane. Tomori was just ridiculous. Pacey centre back. Like, if you ask me right now, who would I rather have, Fofana or Tomori? I'd say Tomori, which I think shows a lot. Tomori, considering we spent 70 odd million on Fofana, and I think a lot of people, yeah, that's all I'll say on that. And Mount would be another just absolutely crazy one, but you know, I don't want to sound too much like a Cobham beg. Like, I like Gallagher. I think he's good energy. But at the end of the day, I get it. I get why people aren't his biggest fan. And if we sold him, I would get it. If he went out Newcastle, I'd get it. It would make sense. But I think there is certain... Like, when Livramento... Like, some people kick up a fuss no matter which young player goes. They don't care. And, like, look, I liked Livramento. I liked Lamptey. But when these players go, I wasn't, like, getting pissed about it because I understand it. Like, you got, at the time, you had the club captain, Azpilicueta, and Reece James ahead of him. Like, sure. So, like, I don't kick it up about anyone. But some of them are just stupid. The Tomori one, Tammy one, and Mount one are just stupid. Basically. But, you know, it is what it is. We've been going for 19 minutes just talking straight football. No one's going to listen to this. But it had to be done. I got to stop hitting that. This is 149. See you in 150. Wow, good number.
Here with the kids, and I had like 3 kids, and the geezer was probably on like maximum 20 bags a year. Like the most boring bloke you'll ever meet. He was like a hero.